Okay then. Hey guys, Coyote here, and we are back with crime story time. There's fluff on my arm and I thought it was a spider. I almost shat myself. Right, so it's been a while since I've been here on YouTube. It's been 4 months since the last video. There's been a lot of shit on my plate, as I was explaining in that video. I've had a lot on my plate. That's not changed, but I want to get back into the swing of YouTube. We're recording this at 20 to 8 in the morning. We haven't slept. High energy. I'm at the hyper stage of tired, so let's get into it. This one's called The Babysitter. It's actually called The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs. It's an urban legend dating back to the 1960s. Now, I've never heard of it, but got it on my my app right here.
I think I heard of it, but I don't think I've actually heard the actual story.
Well, buckle up and get ready for it, because I'm going to tell the story.
Okay.
That's what this series is about. Creepy, killer shit. Let's change the lighting. Let's see if our lamp can make it better or worse. A lot worse. Let's put that back on. No, because outside lighting is much worse for YouTube. Yeah, natural light is a bitch when it comes to that. Anyway, should we get started? Are you guys ready? Are you ready? Are you ready, Tilly? We have a dog down here. You can't really see her. She's here. She exists. Oh. You're gonna see some shaky camera as well, because my dog's running around like a little nutter. You look like you're about to RKO your own dog.
Really? Can you see it?
Yeah, you look like you're about to RKO her.
Say hello.
Right. Okay. Anyway, let's get started. Take one. It's far.
Don't read start.
Right. It's a late night and a teenage girl is babysitting a couple of kids. The children are asleep and all is quiet until the phone starts ringing. And there's a picture of a telephone. Don't know why there's a picture of a telephone.
An old-fashioned telephone.
Yeah, well, it is set in the 60s.
It's a rotophone.
It's not.
Is it a rotophone? Is that what they're called?
I don't know. It's not going to be an iPhone 11, babe. It's in the 60s. The voice on the other end is a mere whisper with one question. Have you checked on the children? Nah, that'd be creepy as shit. Could you imagine? You're babysitting and you're just like, quiet voice. Have you checked on the children? No. Who is it? Do you
Can't say that.
I can't say that. I don't know if that's going to be able to be left in. That's bad.
Oh, well.
I'm probably going to leave that in.
You'll get videos took down. I'll get a stroke.
I don't care. I've had videos struck.
I'd just be like...
Why have I got a tag for a fly swatter stuck to my foot?
I don't know. I'd just be like, no, I haven't.
I'd just be like, no. I think they're dead.
No.
Nah, because what if they sounds like they actually
I
are
gave
dead?
them the frozen waffles and sent them to bed.
What was that, South Park?
Yeah.
Got frozen waffles for dinner. Is there a side dish?
I gave them Karen's leftover meatloaf and sent them to bed.
Oh, I hope my camera don't die during this. The babysitter disregards the call as a prank call and hangs up, but the phone rings again and again and again, and the same question is asked over and over. Have you checked the children? Realising the calls won't stop, the babysitter calls the police. They advise they advise her they will trace the next incoming call. I need to turn my volume off because otherwise I've not learnt my lesson then have I? Like clockwork, the phone rings again and it's the terrifying whisper, have you checked the children? The babysitter slams the phone down, it rings again, but this time it's the police. He's in the house, the calls are from inside the house, get out now. Many movies have been based on this urban legend. Foster's released in 1971, Black Christmas in 74, The Sitter 1977, When a Stranger Calls 1979, and When a Stranger Calls Back in 1993. 1993, I can't speak. These are all like movie posters, but sometimes the truth is scarier than fiction. Babysitting has been a rite of passage for teenagers for decades. It's a sign of responsibility and independence. In 1950, Janet Christmas was no different. Janet Christman was no different. King Janet Christmas. What the fuck's Janet Christmas? Janet Christman was born March 21st, 1936. She was the oldest of 3 girls. Charles, Lula, Charles and Lula Chrisman. Rita was just 18 months younger than Janet, and Cheryl was a newborn baby. The family had recently moved from Missouri to Columbia, a much smaller college town. Columbia is the home of the University of Missouri and proud of its Missouri Tigers. I can't say that. Anyway, the Chrismans owned and operated a local restaurant, Ernie's Cafe and Steakhouse. They lived on the upper level of the building where the restaurant was located. The family of 5 made a comfortable living and were respected in their small community. In 1950, Janet was 13 years old and an 8th grader at Jefferson Junior High School. What the junior high school, not high college. I can't speak today.
Lack of sleep.
I know. Janet was intelligent and independent. She has a strong work ethic and learned from her parents. She played the piano and went to church every Sunday with her family. Her responsibility was well known in town. She was a highly sought after babysitter. Janet was mature for her age, but she was also physically more developed than other girls. Looking much older, garnered much unwanted attention from older men. But Janet just called it hollers of hubba bubba and gave the attention no mind. The night of Saturday, March 18th, 1950, Janet had agreed to babysit one of her regulars, 3-year-old Gregory Romack. Although it was a Saturday and her friends tried to convince her to go to a party, Janet took the babysitting job. She had one last payment on a burgundy suit, Coyote, suit. Learn the English. She had one last payment on a burgundy suit she wanted to wear for Easter, and she needed the money from the Romack. That night, winter and spring collided. The winds gust, blew rain and sleet through the area, and temperatures dropped to the mid-20s. Janet arrived at the Romack's home around 7:30. Upon her arrival, Ed and Ann Romack informed Janet that little Gregory was already asleep, with the radio playing softly in the background. He wouldn't be any trouble for the young babysitter. As precaution, Ed showed Janet how to load the fire. His shotgun he left leant up against the wall next to the front door, and if anyone were to unexpectedly come by, he instructed Janet to turn off the front porch light before answering the door. Turn on the porch light, don't turn it off, turn it on. Ed and Anne soon left to enjoy their night out alone. Janet was left alone with sleeping child and a quiet house. Throughout the night, the weather worsened. Most folks opted to stay indoors, and very few dared to venture out. The wind howled and the trees violently swayed. Winter was making one last push before spring took over. But the weather wasn't the only thing terrifying about that night. There was a human presence that was about to shatter the innocence of a young girl and leave a town terrorised by a mystery that would never be solved. The inclement weather meant all was quiet at the Boone County Sheriff's Office. But just as deputies were getting settled for a long and uneventful night, the phone rang. At 10:35 p.m, Deputy Ray McCowan picked up his ringing desk phone and was met with screams that would replay in his head for the rest of his life. "Come quick," a girl screamed hysterically. Before McCowan could even utter a word, the phone was cut short, and all that was heard was the deafening sound of the dial tone. Who was that girl? Where was she? And what was happening? McCowan didn't believe it to be a prank. He heard terror in the girl's voice. It was real. But there was nothing he could do. Due to the late hour, the main switchboard at the telephone company was closed, so the call couldn't be traced. Unnerved, all McCowan could do was wait and hope the girl called back. She never did. Not long after, Anne Romack called home to check in, but she received a busy signal. Anne assumed Janet was either on the line or had taken the phone off the hook and was sleeping. Around 1:35 a.m, the Romacks pulled into their driveway. They had an enjoyable night at the Moon Valley Villa. That's a tongue for Moon Valley Villa.
It really is.
A popular restaurant in Columbia. Several couples had gathered for dinner, drinks and cards. It was a night full of laughter and good company, but the night of fun was about to turn into one of horror, and they would never forget. The Romacks noticed the front porch light was on and the front window drapes were still wide open. Ed went to unlock the door and realised it was already unlocked. He eased open the front door and came upon a horrifying sight. Janet Chrisman, just 3 days shy of her 14th birthday, was sprawled on the living room floor. Okay, there's actually a picture here I want to get up. Okay, I was going to show it to the camera, but she takes the phone. I need a drink. Okay, I don't know if this is going to show on camera well. I don't know, I can't tell if it's focused or anything, but let's just hope it focused in. I'll leave the drink there so I don't have to stretch. She had been beaten, raped and strangled to death. Here comes the shaky camera. She had been beaten, raped and strangled to death. Okay, I'm not going into mad detail with this one. There is an option for mad details, but I think we'll keep it quick and clean this one.
Yeah.
Ed and Anne immediately rushed to Gregory's room, but the little boy was unharmed and still soundly sleeping. The only sound in the house was that of the small radio Gregory had fallen asleep to. Almost immediately the investigation had complications. While jurisdiction belonged to the Boone County Sheriff's Department, the Columbia Police Department were the first on the scene and attempted to control the investigation. From the start it was a fight for leadership and conflicting egos. Each agency had their own separate investigation with little communication. They even had conflicting theories of what may have happened during the incident, especially with regards to the method of entry. The Sheriff's Office believed Janet knew the intruder and invited him in, while the police department believed he came through a broken side window. Okay, dog, you want to be on video? This is Trixie, guys. She's grown a lot. If you watch my last video introducing my dogs, what was it called? Meet My Dogs. You'll have met a little 10-week-old Trixie. This is a, what, 7-month-old now? This is a 7-month-old Trixie. Leave my water alone. You've got your own. The Sheriff's Office believed that Janet... Oh, yeah, the side window. Yeah, one of them believed it broke in through the side window. Instead of working together, the two agencies were uncooperative and disagreed on just about everything. While they were battling for authority, the town of Columbia was in a state of terror. Officers were patrolling the streets 24 hours a day. Stakeouts and neighbourhood canvassings were conducted daily. Some citizens were even temporarily deputised in order to find the murderer that was running loose. And that was a car. I'm recording here! Sorry. Anyone that had previous record was hauled for questioning. Tips poured in. Citizens reported anything and everything. But this wasn't the first time terror had struck this small town. For several years before Janet's murder, the town experienced a rash of prowling and peeping Tom incidents, several sexual assaults and rapes and even murder. While authorities had closed their cases, Janet's rape and murder made the citizens of Columbia doubt whether justice had actually been served. Was the killer still out there? Had he been there the whole time? Eventually investigations focused their attention on one man, Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller was a high school friend of Ed Romack. And there's a picture of the guy right there, if you can see it. I really need a better way of doing these videos.
Yeah.
We'll work on that for the future, guys. I'll work on, like, you know, getting the pictures off of my phone and, like, editing them on screen and shit like that to make it a bit easier. But this is just the quick way of doing it for now. We're also going to go into more detail in the future. And I'm thinking about just taking notes from each case and memorising stuff instead of looking at my phone the whole time. I'll be able to focus on the camera. But anyway, Robert Mueller was a high school friend of Ed Romack. He was a 27-year-old former army captain that served in World War II. He was married with several children and managed his father's restaurant, Mueller's Virginia Cafe. Mueller was known for dressing well and always carrying a mechanical pencil in the pocket of his shirt. He was also known for being inappropriate with women. Just one day before Janet's murder, Mueller had grabbed Anne Romack's breasts and made lewd comments towards her. But Mueller seemed to have special affinity for young girls, in particular Janet Chrisman. One On more than one occasion, Mueller made comments about Janet's well-developed body. On the night of Janet's murder, Mueller was also attending the same gathering as the Romacks. At some point during the party, Mueller excused himself. He was gone for 2 hours. The circumstantial evidence against Mueller was overwhelming, and investigators were closing in until May 4th, 1950. Officers took Mueller into custody. Instead of following procedure and taking him to the police station, they drove him to a farm outside of Columbia and they questioned Mueller all night. Early the next morning, Mueller agreed to take a polygraph test. He passed and officers released him from custody. So if he passed a lie detector test, could it have been him? I mean, lie detectors in the 50s weren't great.
Yeah, but they still work the same way that we have them now.
I don't know. I can't reach my dog. Trixie! Yeah. The tactics officers used in the interrogating Mueller were detrimental in securing an arrest warrant. In addition, a grand jury failed to indict Mueller based on unprofessional conduct of the investigation and lack of cooperation between the two law enforcement agencies. Robert Mueller was never charged with Janet's rape and murder. Janet Chrisman was buried on March 21st, 1950, her 14th birthday. She was wearing the burgundy suit she had been saving for, the suit that was the reason she took the Romac babysitting job that fateful night. Officially, the crime remains unsolved.
Well.
Okay then, so that was the babysitter. So the calls were coming from inside the house, it said. How did he get in the house? Was it the broken side window, but the door was unlocked? So unless he broke in through the side window and exited through the door. But the porch light was on, which she was told to put on if anybody knocked on the door.
Unless knocked on the door.
She went to open the door, he broke in through the window.
Yeah.
I don't know, but this case, guys, let me know what you think of it in the comments. Let me know your ideas. Was it him? Was it somebody else altogether?
Weird.
It's a weird case. But anyway, guys, that does it for this one. Wow, what do you think of that one?
It's a weird case.
Yeah.
Either way, the person won't be alive now.
Not now, it was like, what, 50, 60, 70 years ago?
Well, they won't roughly be alive now, and if they were, they won't be able to harm anybody now, really.
No, it's like, what, 72 years ago, something like that?
Mm.
But that was a mad case. I don't know what I think of that one. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think.
It's sad.
Leave a like if you want to see more of these. I'm planning on keeping the series going for a while.
I'll have to go boy sleep through that.
I don't know. Through her getting raped and murdered. Must be a loud radio.
Yeah.
Must have a whole hi-fi system in that room.
Must be.
But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. I don't know. That case is a mad cliffhanger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who done it? It's like an episode of EastEnders. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I can't find the record. So we'll get some blooper stuff as well during the cell. Ah, what was it R for? I'm gonna add some eerie music to the background.
My
This one.
knee.
Your knee? What's up with your knee?
Did you not hear it?
No.
It clicked. I'll put weight on it.
Alright. Who are gonna help me with this video? You're gonna be in this one.
I must, yes.
I was in yours.
Can I lean back?
Lead back if you like. You know you like, make yourself comfy. Right, smoke break and set up over. What the fuck are you doing?
Make him sound comfy.